curious as that will he still stay alive after getting his head decapitated? Alpha falls back a little with his knife in his hand. The guy asks him that is he seriously thinking of having a sword fight with him, as if he does it will be good for him, as it is his speciality. He rushes towards Alpha in an attempt to kill him for real this time, with a huge grin, but Alpha ends up dodging the attack. Alpha thinks that this person is indeed fast, and the guy throws multiple slashes at him, and Alpha dodges all of them very effectively. Alpha thinks that even though his opponent is throwing using big movements, there are no blind spots in his attack, and that this guy is not just all talk and no show. He thinks that the guy is a genius with his knife, and the guy asks Alpha with a huge grin if he is alright, as he asks him to show him more of what Alpha has got. He slashes using his sword, but again Alpha ducks and dodges the attack, and the guy asks him that, until when he will dodge and start fighting back. Alpha receives multiple slashes on his shoulders, and while laughing, the guy holds his hands up to attack another time, asking Alpha if that is all that he has got. To his surprise, he is kicked back by Alpha, and he is backed by the wall. Alpha comments that it is quite easy for him to excite the guy, and goes for a punch straight to his face. The guy with the cap dodges and ends up hitting the wall instead. There is a huge dent in punch. The guy gets up as he comments that Alpha is like an animal. Mr. Kim wonders that since Alpha is pushing the guy back then he might have a chance, and glances over the shotgun that was dropped onto the ground. He thinks that now is chance. The cap guy seems to have noticed that Mr. Kim was going to pick up the shotgun, and he throws his knife at Mr. Kim as he asks him what he thinks he is doing. The knife hits him right in the leg, and Alpha yells, calling Mr. Kim. The guy leaps towards Alpha as he proceeds to slash Alpha's head in half. Mr. Kim was left surprised that Alpha's head was slashed off. The guy turns towards Mr. Kim laughing like an inhuman, as he exclaims that he got them now, and is laughing like a menace that he has now killed an enforcer. He comments that Alpha isn't even strong, and Mr. Kim replies that didn't the guy in the cap ask whether Alpha would still be alive after getting decapitated? He in fact adds that Alpha doesn't die from something like that, and Alpha's head reattaches back to his head. The capped guy's facial expression changes into worry, just as he realizes that. The capped guy turns out, as he is just as surprised, and Alpha grabs his face with his hand, and holds the guy in the air, and informs him that the sword technique he used was good, nice however. It's unfortunate that it doesn't work against him. He further adds that it turns out that the capped guy was just unlucky, as the capped guy tries to slash Alpha, however is unsuccessful. One of the slashes hit Alpha's mask, and Alpha wastes no time in smashing his head against the wall, then drags his head and throws him against the wall. The capped guy falls to the ground. Dead. Alpha sighs a breath of relief as he turns around to face Mr. Kim and informs him that he should stand up and adds that he will help him. Mr. Kim replies that he is aware that he is old, however. He still has his pride. Alpha let him know that Mr. Kim is the definition of the quote, "You are nothing without your pride," and Mr. Kim laughingly curses him. Back at the headquarters, the administrator talks to herself that it is probably time that she should have gotten a call from Alpha. However, she remembers that Alpha asked her to not worry about him. The administrator stands up as she talks to herself, that even though it is concerning, maybe she should send some rescue teams. Before should continue her sentence, a girl enters the window which ends up breaking. The general is in shock, as she screams that is this an ambush, while the girl on her feet as she exclaims that she has barely made it. She asks Amber that she really the administrator? The administrator is a bit confused. In an abandoned area on the outskirts of the city, Alpha gets out of the manhole and helps Mr. Kim get out of it as well. Alpha informs Mr. Kim that it is the outskirts, and he believes that he has now lost them, and Mr. Kim replies that that is a relief. While Alpha wonders that it is good that they have lost them. However, Mr. Kim's leg injury is worrisome. Mr. Kim is taken back by the noise, and Alpha turns his head to see what that really is. It turns out to be a helicopter. Mr. Kim is shocked that these crazy bastards have even sent a helicopter to catch them, and Alpha replies that no, it is not them, as if you look closely at the symbol they were on Alpha's side. Soon the helicopter lands, and Alpha helps Mr. Kim get onto the helicopter. Before they could get on the helicopter, the general arrives and comments that Alpha is actually alive. Alpha replies that he is glad to see her, and ask that she even came after he told her to not worry about, as she is a kind person. The administrative replies that no, it is just because Alpha was running late. Alpha introduces Mr. Kim to the administrator as their information collaborator, and Mr. Kim replies that she can just call him Mr. Kim. Administrator, or Amber, holds the door and info. Him that he is the guy they have been talking about and thanks him for his cooperation. However, she first informs them that she will send him to the nearest hospital to take care of his wounds. Alpha asked the administrator how she knew about the location, and she replies that it is better that they talk about the matter when they get back to the headquarters, as the situation has gotten a bit more complicated. Back at the World Government Embassy, a girl with a blue jacket and a beanie greets Alpha. Alpha stands right there, unmoved. He asks Amber, "Who is this little kid?" We now go back to the past, where the girl when she smashed through the window. Amber pulled out her gun, yelling that it was an ambush. The girl asks Amber that she is the World Government Administrator, and Amber points her gun at her. The Good informs her that she should wait a minute as she is not there to fight, and informs her that instead, she is the help. Amber asks her what she is talking about, and she replies that the administrator's enforcer is in huge trouble right now. Back at the present, Alpha asks Amber that she is telling him that the little girl knows everything about them. Amber lets him know that it is true what Alpha has said, as everything moves precisely. Alpha looks over at her and asks her who she really is. She informs him that her name is Nadu-un. Alpha tightly grabs her head, with both his hands, as he informs her that in a frightening voice that he is not asking for her name. Amber tells Alpha that she is a psychic, which means she is basically an esper. She furthermore adds that apparently the girl can do clairvoyance and telekinesis, as well as can see very far. Moreover, she informs him that it's scarce, as she wonders how the Kang Keel Gang got an esper on their side. Amber adds that it isn't new, as they have already seen other criminal organizations hiring an esper, and Alpha replies that which would then make sense that she could run through their securities. Na-dun calls them out, as she asks them that is there anyway, she could help the two, and Alpha asks her what she is talking about. Na-dun starts her story, that she was forced to help the Kang Keel Gang because they were threatening her, and she even considered running away with her esper abilities. However, she didn't know where to go after escaping. She looks over at Alpha and says that Alpha can change that, as he is a strong enforcer. She tries to stand up as she informs Alpha that what if the world government is trying to achieve world peace, she would want to help them out with her abilities. Moreover, with tears in her eyes, she says that she has already done so many bad things, and asks Alpha if he can help her. Alpha looks over at her, and it reminds him of his daughter, who in Alpha's hands asked him to live until the world became peaceful again. Alpha thinks to himself that his daughter was just as old as Na-dun. Alpha proceeds to pat her on her head and pushes her back to the sofa to sit. He tells her that he is delighted to hear that she will help them, but however, there is nothing she can do in the embassy. Na-dun tries to argue but is shut when Alpha lets her know that enforcers do not need help from a little kid like her. Furthermore, he tells her that he won't kick her out since she has escaped from the Kang Keel Gang, but it will be good for her to live in the embassy quietly. Moreover, he tells her that if she does something suspicious, he will have to punish her, and Na-dun sits on the sofa, disappointed. Amber and Alpha take a walk down the hallway when Alpha informs Amber that she should tell her superiors to protect Na-dun and ask them to pick her up from the embassy. Amber argues that it is a pity, as Na-dun's ability would be of great help to them. Alpha replies that even though she has special abilities, she is just a kid, and kids shouldn't get involved in things like these. Alpha is a bit curious as he asks Amber how the Kang Keel Gang would react to finding out Na-dun has escaped. The same day at the sewage where the fight happened, the Special Team 3 that includes Choi Hyung-min witnessed the capped guy dead on the floor with bloodstains all over the wall. Choi calls his boss informing him that the hat guy is dead and it wasn't even close. He further informs him that the enforcer is a lot more stronger than they expected. The boss sighs as he informs him that it's fine, and that he will do the job next time while he smokes his cigarette. At the World Government Embassy in North America, Alpha is in a video call with the General. The General asks him is it really an esper girl? And Alpha responds that it indeed is, and in order to protect her from the Keel Gang, He suggests that the general should send some reinforcements to transport her to the